Hey, everybody. Welcome to This and That with Ryan and Maggie. I'm Ryan.
And I am Maggie. Hi, everybody. How are you doing on this beautiful Friday?
I'm doing awesome because I know that we have an amazing guest with us today.
Yes,
Would
we
you,
do.
would you like to introduce her?
Sure. We have the beautiful, the clever, the funny Little Miss Marxist. So let's get her in here. Hey, girl.
Hey guys.
Welcome to This and That with Maggie and Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Well, as good as can be as expected in these times, but thanks for
Yes.
having me.
Yes.
It's good to be with friends in these times and, go live where we can chat and laugh and, just try to take it all in stride, right?
That's right.
Yeah, if my computer would start acting right. Yeah. Okay. So, yes, it's Friday. Hopefully you all have had a good week. So, Marxist, you were somewhere, this past week, weren't you, for a trip? The good state of Florida, I believe it was.
I was in the beautiful state of Florida for the last week for work.
How
I'm
was that?
jealous.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
It's like the people of Walmart everywhere you turn.
Like, did you just get down there and look around and go, "Wow,
Nope.
I get it now."
Unfortunately,
You look around, you get off the plane, you're like, nope, bye.
I mean, for me, it was the moment where we were at Universal Studios and they made an announcement over the loudspeaker saying, if you refuse to wear shoes, you cannot stay in the park. And I'm like, who isn't wearing shoes in an amusement park? We have to make an announcement about this, but it's Florida, so
You guys follow Florida Man, right? Or look at the site Florida Man.
I don't.
Ryan, you're missing out on like the fucking comedy of a lifetime.
Sorry.
And the best thing is, okay, you got to go type in your like birthday and see what did Florida Man do on your birthday. That's like a thing that's going around.
Oh,
It's
jeez.
been going around for a long time. But I think, there's like, people eating people. There's like, people wrestling alligators. I mean, Florida Man's always up to something. So you got to go check it out.
Yeah.
FloridaMan.com.
Good. Florida. My brother lives down there. Every time I go down there, I get off the plane and I'm just like, ah. So here's a real funny story, and I'm not going to say who they are. Hopefully they don't watch my show. But my wife is hardcore. She grew up in Arizona. There's scorpions in Arizona. So you don't walk around without your slippers on, not even in the house. My wife is like hardcore about this. So let alone outside. We're sitting outside. The kids are riding their scooters, and some people moved in across the street. They got 3 kids. The whole family's outside walking around in their with no shoes on. Jen's like, our kids aren't fucking going over there. And they had Florida plates on their cars.
So that's immediately no.
That was an immediate no from my wife. She was
what
like,
I
no.
needed to see. Immediately no.
She was like, immediate no.
We talk
Hard
in
no.
TikTok terms
Hard
here.
no.
Yeah. Immediately no.
Yeah, hard pass. Okay, so let's move. Yeah, we're gonna move on to the meat and potatoes of it all. And I'm just gonna say first off, not necessarily trigger warning, but if your PTSD was set off yesterday, last night, watching these videos, if you watched the hearing, please know that you're not alone. It's okay. It's okay to reach out for help. You need to talk to somebody. If you don't have anybody and you need it, there's a couple people right here on the show that are more than happy to help you find some help. So please just know that it's okay. A lot of us, including myself and my wife, are experiencing the same things. Unfortunately, we need to keep talking about it, and we need to keep paying attention. It's going to be uncomfortable, but we still need to talk about it. So with that said, what were your guys' opinions and thoughts after it?
Woo! January 6th. Takes you back to the day. I mean, with everything that's gone on in the last year plus since this has happened, we constantly talk about the shit show that is America, and it's one thing after another. And to think that there was an actual coup on our government, an insurrection on our government, and that time has passed, and this much time has passed, and we're still trying to get accountability. We're still seeing new things coming out. I was glued to the TV, obviously. I was looking forward to it. I was excited. I think Benny Thompson did a phenomenal job. I think Liz Cheney did a phenomenal job. And, we talk about this. We don't agree with a lot of GOP people all the time, but she has more cojones than so many of these male Republicans, or any Republican, male or female Republicans out there that are, sucking the Trump teat at this point. So I'm so happy that this is happening and that so many people tuned in. So I'll leave it at that. Marcy, what are your thoughts on it?
I watched it live when it was happening on January 6th, and the horror that I was feeling in that moment was a little bit different from what I watched last night, which last night for me was a little bit triggering, because while we're watching these things happen in live time on January 6th, it was a little bit different for me watching it actually from the police chest cams and seeing how these animals who claim to back the blue were beating these police officers and spraying bear mace in their face at point blank range. That was a little bit different for me. I have chills talking about that right now, just because it's really insane to me to watch people who claim to back the blue and they have these black and white American flags with the blue stripe on their trucks and their houses and their shirts and all of these things. Yep. And that they can say that what happened that day was okay and it was a tourist visit. And for me, it's like, okay, so you only back the blue when they're going and shooting unarmed Black people in their homes when they're sleeping in their beds and things like that, but that when they're going to try and overthrow the government and ransack our capital, that's okay. And it's a little bit different for me. It's just the hypocrisy of it all. But honestly, it was very difficult for me to watch that. Afterwards, I kind of felt sick to my stomach, reliving that and those emotions and things. And also to what you said earlier, knowing that no consequences have come from any of these things, and talking of him running in 2024, and it's like, how could that even be allowed to be possible? It was extremely difficult for me to watch last night.
Yeah,
I agree with that. It's the fact that we're even still talking about him running is insane. I mean, like I felt like 30 minutes into that hearing last night, what we were watching, I'm like, they should be at his door right now knocking and saying, come outside. Yeah. We're going to handcuff you now. Yeah. It's time for consequences. Yeah. Like that's how I was left feeling.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm probably going to get a little emotional and pissed off here, just fair warning. But for me,
I love it.
What upset me was the people talking about Ashley Babbitt. That personally set me off yesterday, because it's like, okay, you guys are using Ashley Babbitt as your talking point and saying, oh, but it's not okay when cops shoot Black people, but it's okay when they shoot Ashley Babbitt. Okay, what we're not going to do is compare Black folks getting shot during a traffic stop or sleeping in their bed at night to fucking domestic terrorists. That's what we're not going to do. And so the reality is Ashley Babbitt was a domestic terrorist. She was shot. It sucks that she lost her life, but she fucked around and found out. Okay?
Absolutely.
So to call these people anything other than what they are, which is domestic terrorists, is wrong. It wasn't a dust-up, as Jack Del Rio liked to say. It wasn't a tourist visit, attraction, whatever. It was an attempted coup. It was an insurrection. And these are domestic terrorists, and they need to be treated as such. Domestic terrorists should be getting put on a plane, taken to Guantanamo, and fucking left there. There's plenty of space down there. Trust me. They can take a solid 300 down there with no issue. Yeah. So, again, if we like both of you ladies said, if we do not have any kind of consequences, if the American people do not see any action after this, we are screwed.
I also think people are going to be fucking pissed because, I will just say it. I think at the end of all of this, what we all walked away with is how the fuck has Donald Trump, like you said, how is he still able to run? How is he walking free? How are we?
He should not be free.
I mean, and you hear Liz Cheney. I mean, she said he most likely committed crimes. These are what people are saying. it is very obvious he committed crimes. Yep. I hear people are, talking, the talking heads are all about it right now, talking about, well, will he face consequences? Will he not? Probably not. Maybe so. I mean, it's all up in the air, but there's still more hearing to come. And yep. The show's going to be really interesting as we see, new witnesses coming forward. I mean, we want to talk about Ivanka turning on Daddy. We have Jared,
that's a good pivot.
And Bill Barr, pivoty. And Bill Barr, all the signs were pointing to this MFer, knew that all of that. He planned this insurrection. He wanted these people to go march down. He didn't go with them, piss them off, and all of his people were telling him, "Please do something," and he did nothing. And
I think that's what's
out there. It's out there.
I think that's what's going to be the most shocking for a lot of people that aren't as invested as we are, that don't pay the kind of attention that we do. Mm-hmm. I think what's going to be shocking to a lot of Americans is the timeline. Not just the timeline, but also we're finding out the actual preparation that went into this. Was, like you said, this wasn't just 3,000, 4,000 random people showed up and just decided to do something. We're finding out that this was a planned out event and attack. You don't show up with bulletproof vests and walkie-talkies, to a protest.
Yep.
Unless you're
Mo Brooks showed up in body armor. He knew exactly what was going to happen.
Tactical vest, body armor. Let's not forget Marjorie Taylor Greene, when we were watching her deposition, that bitch was calling people to come down there too. I mean, This was a coordinated event by many, many GOP members as well, not just Donald Trump. And I really hope that we get so much more tea than, we got a good teaser yesterday of what's to come.
That's all yesterday was. Yes. Yesterday was a little shock, this is how bad it was. And
I said it was episode 1. Don't mess with democracy.
I think the next day is going to be even more shocking. I think
worse. I think it's just going to get more intense the more that we watch it.
Yeah, this isn't a movie preview where they only give you the funniest parts in the preview and then you find out that's the only funny parts of the movie. This is going to continuously get worse.
Oh, for sure.
And I really do like the way they're delivering it, though. So I think the storytelling way that they're laying this out and setting the point of that they're trying to make, and then showing a video of someone in his administration backing up exactly what they're saying happened. I really like the way that they're playing it, and that it's not just some snooze fest of watching deposition after deposition. I really enjoyed the way that it was presented to us last night.
I think they have a really good tactic with their PR as well, doing this prime time. And I mean, the world had to stop and watch this. And they wanted
19 million.
People. Yes, fuck yeah. I mean, they wanted the world to stop and watch. Meanwhile, everybody on Fox is sitting there like, because Fox didn't cover any of this,
Because they're co-conspirators.
Well, they're all in there. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, they're all guilty. Yeah. They were part of the text messages. I mean, I can't wait for all that to come trickling down as well. But real quick, going back to Ivanka, which one of you can you read the tweet that Donald Trump went out today?
Ivanka's a robot.
I agree.
Even in that deposition, she looked and sounded like a robot.
I do Ivanka like this. Yes. She just looks off into space.
Don't move your face.
I don't.
Marcy's got it for us.
Yeah, so she did. I'll preface this. Ivanka, obviously, for anyone that doesn't know, she sang on Daddy pretty much and said that, Bill Barr. She was aware, that she believed Bill Barr, that there was no voter fraud and yada, yada, yada. So, okay, go ahead with the tweet.
So the tweet or Getter or Cliff Notes, whatever he could put out last night, said, and I also think this is kind of random that he doesn't just call her Ivanka or my daughter. He says, and I quote, Ivanka Trump was not involved in looking at or studying election results. She had long since checked out and was, in my opinion, only trying to be respectful to Bill Barr and his position as Attorney General. In quotes, he sucked.
Somebody's not in the will anymore.
Tiffany, he still hates you.
Oh, Tiffany's always the worst one.
Tiffany, he still wanted to abort you.
Has anyone checked on Junior? Does he still have a pulse? Like, they're all freaking out.
Dude, he's been up doing blow all night, so he's probably freaking out.
Don
but
Junior's been up for a solid 120 hours at this point.
Really?
Tiffany's probably trying to slide in now. Daddy, can I be your number one girl? Please, Daddy.
She's really going to be the winner of the Trump family if you look at it. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted her for all these years, and now the feds don't even want to talk to her. So actually, I feel like she's going to be the Trump family.
The only real winner of the Trump family was Ivana Trump.
Even the feds don't want to talk to her.
It's true.
I should have tweeted that.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. It's like Daddy wanted to abort you and not even the feds want to talk to you.
That's the tweet. Like, oh man. How bad do you think Republicans were freaking out today? They are all.
They're all over it.
Nobody watched it. Snooze Fest. Every one of you watched that last night because you were waiting for your cameo, like 100%.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're all freaking out right now.
Somebody sent me that. What was it? Oh, it was Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt from that movie Hollywood, whatever. And that part where he's looking at the TV and he's like, "Oh, that's me right there. Turn it up, turn it up." And it was like conservatives watching the hearing, waiting to see themselves.
I did a TikTok where they were praying that they weren't. I was like, they're praying to God right now that they're not being mentioned or talked about. They're like, because they don't know what's coming. I mean, all this has been very secretive, but they're all fucking hoping that they're like, uh-oh, I know I had a part in this. They all know that there's guilt there. So I mean, I'm excited to see what this has to offer in the future. And, I think that, Benny and Liz, spearheading this did a phenomenal job, really showing bipartisanship, that this isn't the witch hunt that they're just claiming it to be, that this is something that they're doing together for this country.
Her quote too. So she was like, Donald Trump, I don't know the exact quote and I'm not reading it. So
paraphrasing.
Don't at me at this one. But she was basically like, Donald Trump will be gone, but this shame or whatever it is going to stay with you. And that's so true. Like that these people are still begging for his endorsement for the midterms and things like that.
They've got his face on fucking political signs here.
Yep.
Carrie Lake. They're on every one of her political signs.
And if you're still doing this after yesterday and what's come out and what is going to continue to come out,
you're a traitor.
All the shame is due. Like, you have no shame whatsoever. You have no soul. You have no moral conscience. You are not a patriot. I'm so sick of hearing those talking points about how they're Christian and they're patriots and they love America. You do not love America because Americans love democracy. And so it's all just a bunch
It's always the hypocrisy because they can't have it both ways, though. They can't be the patriots that they want to be and also just on a tourist vacation. They can't,
American flags and beating police officers with it, screaming back the blue on every single tweet and anything that we post about stuff. It's like, you're so full of shit and it shows and it's going to show later. Like all of this is going to be with all of those people forever. And I don't even just mean elected officials. I will remember all of the people that I see tweeting about this, that I see posting on Instagram and saying all of these things. I will never forget any of this stuff, and it's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
We've all lost friends and family to this disease in this country, right?
I think I probably talked to maybe 5 people that I served in the military with now. Like a lot of them just. We unfriended each other. You just stop talking. You're like, yep, you're an idiot. I can't, even if we serve together, that doesn't negate that you're supporting a traitor now.
Well, that's the crazy thing is that every one of these elected officials and members of service and police officers, they pledge an oath to the Constitution and to America. They don't pledge an oath to a king or a leader or Donald Trump. And I think a lot of these people have forgotten that they I don't even know what it is at this point, what they're fighting for. But honestly, I think they're just fighting for these like disgusting things that Donald Trump made normal and okay to do. They're fighting to be a racist. They're fighting to be a misogynist. They're fighting to be a homophobe. They want to be all of those things. They don't give a shit about America, the American flag, the Constitution, democracy, freedom. They don't care about any of that. All they want to do is be piece of shit people. And
they just want it their way, whatever that means. I mean, and it changes daily. That's why it's always with the GOP hypocrisy. They change on a whim what they stand for, what they believe, dependent on what's good for them in that moment. Yep. Always. It's whatever it's narrative. It's momentary stuff. I mean, we are seeing a little bit of accountability, right? You know, we've got Rike Atario, right, getting arrested. We've got what's the newest guy? He's a senator or something. He got arrested about
the Michigan
state. Michigan guy running for governor, something Kelly.
For governor, yeah. Okay. So this is still. I mean, I know it's taken so long, and we're all like, what's been the fucking holdup? But you see, to put together such a cohesive and, you know, well thought out storyline to convince the American people, to show the American people. I guess, I mean, it takes time, and it takes rehearsal. It takes, you know, a lot of that. And I saw that yesterday when I watched that, how long it took for all this to come together to make it, you know.
I'm not there yet. I'm not quite there yet. I hope that you're right, you know, but I want some actual accountability. You know, it's great. It's great that they're putting it together. Like you said, I 100% agree with what you all said. You know, the way they've put it together, the way they, you know, they input all the, what's it called? Wow, evidence? my brain just stopped working.
Evidence?
No, the interviews.
Depositions?
Thank you. So the way they put the depositions in with the videos and like you said, just connected the dots of everybody. Bill Barr, Ivanka, you know, Jared Kushner. It's like they're already connecting all these dots, which is great. So I hope that they continue to do that. But when this is all said and done, you know, there needs to be some serious arrests. And I'm not just talking about the people that stormed the Capitol. I want the people behind the shit. I want the Lauren Boeberts. I want the Marjorie Taylor Greens. I want the Jim Jordans. I want these people.
Everyone who asked for a pardon was a part of this, and they need to be removed from office immediately. The fact that these people can still be in office making laws and voting on things after they tried to overthrow the government,
and walk back on it, Ted Cruz.
Yep.
Right.
No, like Marcy said, at a minimum.
Seats open we would have if all of these treasonous, traitor, seditious motherfuckers were taken out of Congress and Senate and wherever they are in the government system. They should be taken out immediately. If they had a hand in any of this, like, I want names. I want to know who asked for pardons. I want to know when they asked for pardons. And I'm really hoping that they shine a light on those type of things, because they're kind of dribbling out information and not letting everything go, you know, open to everybody in the public. But like, I feel like as an American tax-paying, voting citizen, I deserve to know exactly what happened that day, and all of us do. And if we just stand by idle and not let anything happen to these people, in 2024, we're fucked.
Well, but I think hear me out. I think the first step, though, is, I mean, we've talked about the disarray in this country, right? I mean, what the sheer amount of conspiracy theories and, I say, you know, delusional people that are, you know, have believed in such fraudulent things, flat out lies, that still believe these things to this day. The question has always been, I'm doing a politician move. The question has always been, how do we help these people get back to this? But hold on. Let me finish real quick. I'm thinking that this is, by showing the world, you know, indisputable evidence and showing this like this, as much as it's painful that it's not like happening as fast as we want, it's at least cohesive. And after this, there will be hopefully nothing left that will lead us to think that there could be any other situation. And maybe, just maybe, it might switch some people's opinions and minds, especially about their loyalty to Donald Trump in this time. I still want accountability. Trust me. But I think that this is a great start. That's why doing this in prime time is so important, so that people have to tune in and will see this and see the truth. And they can get out of this bubble of delusion, because that's really what's going on in this country. We have crazy fucking people that vote.
I personally
just like you and I vote.
We can reach them, though, because it is not about freedom or democracy or America. It is about that these people want to be racist. These people want to be misogynist. These people want to be homophobic. These people are just filled with hatred that Donald Trump emboldened in them and made them feel safe to come out of the shadows in public after we had a black president like Obama. I love you. I hope you're watching this.
Obama and Michelle, they watch our show all the time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we had an amazing black president for 8 years, and these racist and disgusting people were just chomping at the bit to get out there because they had to be quiet and this wasn't accepted. And we passed gay marriage and we passed all of these things that were amazing for equality across the line for everybody to do. And then we get a reality TV show host, actor like Donald Trump in the White House, which I don't even know why these people love him anyways, but he said, it's okay.
Like you said, he emboldened them. He let them be who they want to be.
Yes.
He let them.
It's not about voting. It's not about taxes. It's not about any of that shit. It's that they feel safe and free to be a piece of shit human to anybody else that is not white, Christian, nationalist, American, whatever that fucking means. And so I don't think we can reach them. I think what we need to do is outvote them and show up and get this done that way. I don't think we can reach these people because it really doesn't have anything to do with politics or right or left or anything. It's just they're awful people that feel safe to be that way.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree. I think if they haven't come to if they haven't had their come to Jesus moment yet in 18 months, it's just kind of hard to believe that they're going to have it now. I'm sure we're going to reach some people, I mean, and I'm not saying it's going to be an insignificant amount of people that have their eyes open by this, but unfortunately, I think the people that we all want to reach, that we're hoping are going to change their minds, they're not. And it's unfortunate, but we see it every day in the comment sections. The people that we deal with, there is no reasoning with them. You show them data, and they will pivot to another talking point.
Show me proof. We just watched a 10-minute video. And
I'm not saying that all of them are going to reach their come to Jesus moment, but when the truth is out there and it's been placed out there like it's being done right now, that's at least another checkpoint on our side. Something else that we can show them. And I'm not saying it's going to change anyone's mind per se, but at least it's another form of this is what's the reality. I mean, hearing Donald Trump talk about knowing that that these people are all about conspiracy theories. I mean, and how stupid he thinks they are. I mean, these things are, I thought one of the most great points of yesterday was showing the people that were like, I came there because Donald Trump was supposed to, and these people, I don't know how they feel about it, but I definitely think that they feel left high and dry by him, that he didn't march with them. He left them. He just didn't do anything to protect them after the fact. And those people are like, I came there because Donald Trump told me to come there. And so there's a loyalty thing there. And he didn't show any loyalty to them. And that was important to see.
There's another side to this, though, to look at. And it's this, and this is a little more conspiracy, whatever, but, well, not necessarily conspiracy, but I just want you to look at it from this angle. So if everybody says, hey, the president told me to be there, if every single person says the same thing, that makes a solid argument for a well-organized militia. Everybody thinking, everybody being able to say, we thought we were showing up for a well-organized militia. And that now enters the very legit argument of, well, were they just doing what their president told them to do? And if that's the case, now do we have to absolve these people because they interpreted the Second Amendment that way? Do we have to now absolve them and simply hold Donald Trump accountable? And are we going to actually receive any accountability for that one man? That's my issue. My issue is that the way it's sounding to me is that when it comes down to it, they're all going to be able to say, Donald Trump told us to be there, and that's our Second Amendment right.
That's still seditious intention.
But I'm saying the argument's there.
Our capital, they're still beating our police officers. They're shitting in the
absolutely.
hallways, rubbing it down the walls.
Yep.
They're responsible for their own actions and what they
totally
did.
Agree.
All of those people should be absolved. All of them should be locked up. And I did a tweet about this today, which Brian, you chimed in on it. But could you imagine if BLM showed up? If we showed up there with bear mace and zip ties and fucking broke our way into the Capitol, they would have shot us all dead.
We've been dead.
There on the fucking scene. And everybody who wants to talk about they trashed a Target, I don't even want to hear that argument anymore. Like after watching the footage that we watched yesterday, trying to compare kids with signs in the streets. Like I was in Los Angeles with millions of people marching, and it was peaceful and it was beautiful and it was wonderful. And we're saying we are here for human rights and Black rights and all of these things. And I honestly don't give a shit about a Target getting trashed, but you cannot say that you're some patriotic American and be okay with people trashing our Capitol and threatening to hang the vice president. Like these are two completely separate entities of what's happening here, and I don't have
vice president.
Yeah. By the way, just thank you for mentioning that. So the quote, and I'm paraphrasing here, was maybe our supporters have it right. He deserves it. That's what Trump said.
Yes.
What? Wait.
Yes, he said that about. He said it about.
You missed that one?
Didn't you hear that yesterday? That would fucking kill. He pretty much was like, yeah, maybe they should kill Mike Pence.
No, he said, I think the supporters might have it right. He deserves it. Like, he literally wanted them to kill this man.
Yeah.
For doing the right thing.
For doing the right thing.
Doing whatever percentage of I'm not looking at it right now, and I hate to do that, but for the millions of people that showed out and voted to say that they have a right because they lost the game. You know what I mean? If you look at it like a Little League game, you lost the Little League game, so let's go and beat the shit out of the other parents and possibly murder them. It's
or
the
sports.
Same scenario, you know? It's like...
No, but they're delusional. They truly... I mean, we know that Donald Trump set out from the fucking beginning, even before the election, it was already gonna be fraud. He had laid the playbook out. I mean... And that's the thing. People are so fucking dumb and delusional that they didn't even see that this was already being planned ahead of time. He knew he was going to lose, so he was setting it out that it was going to be fraud, even though without any evidence. And then he tried to make evidence happen, and he tried to make fetch happen, and it didn't fucking happen. And he called fucking favors in, and this man is still walking free to this day. And
it's insane.
It is insane.
So then you have to look at the system, you know, like what is going on with our system that we're allowing this person to still walk free. Like that's where there's so many problems all the way down the entire line. If any one of us would have tweeted out to hang the vice president, the FBI would be arresting us in our hotel room or in our apartment or wherever we live. The exact moment that happens. So what in the fuck makes it okay for the president of the United States to say that about anyone? I'm just like, what world are we living in? Are we in the upside down? Like,
and meanwhile,
it's become normal and acceptable.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump, I want to put this out there, on his Truth Social, his network is now blocking people and banning people for talking about the January 6th hearings.
Of course.
I mean, right on cue. I mean,
free speech for all. Right.
Truth Social,
as long as you're telling Donald Trump's truth.
You can't make this shit up anymore. And that's what is so... I feel like our heads just... Every day when it comes to this shit. I mean...
Speaking of my head exploding, can we move on to some gun reform?
Yes.
I think the best way to open it up is to talk about Matthew McConaughey and his emotional speech that he gave. What did you guys think of that?
Loved it. I thought that it was well thought out. Like, I mean, just scripted very well. From like a very nice, like a thesis it was just done very well. Setting out that he's from Uvalde. I'm a gun owner, a responsible gun owner. That place taught me how to be a good person, and then moved into like very, very graphic and intimate details about these sweet victims, which I don't know about you guys watching this. I was bawling my eyes out. My makeup was everywhere. It was so emotional and raw. Hearing about the green Converse with the heart on the right side breaks your heart, and all the hopes and dreams of those children. As a mom, I know what my children's hopes and dreams are, and for them not to be able to fulfill those dreams, and then he ended it with, but the one thing we can do is not have these children's lives be in vain, and we can do something about it. We can raise the minimum age. We can have background checks. We can have red flag laws. We can have these partisan ways that any responsible gun owner should be able to get behind, unless they have something to hide. And so I kudos to him. And, sometimes actors have to get involved just to get a message across. And I know the right came after him for being just an actor, but I thought it was very poignant.
I'd like to see him team up with Beto, actually, because I think his messaging was on target and what we needed to hear from people. So I know there's been a lot of rumbling about him potentially running and things like that, but I would like to see more. I mean, I hate that we live in this type of society, but I would like to see more celebrity power and speaking out against these things and saying that they're not behind it, and partnering up with whoever is running in their area to support them. I'd really love to see a connection there, personally. I think that he could help Beto win Texas.
Oh, if he endorses Beto, that would be phenomenal.
Well, and after that, I don't see why he wouldn't, honestly. I think for a lot of people, hopefully, we're reaching a point where gun violence is going to start transcending politics. And that's where we need it to be. We need it to be above everything else. We need everybody to realize how serious this is. We need everybody that has children to understand that it could have been theirs, that it could be theirs tomorrow. We need every white person to understand that there are racist people going into churches and grocery stores that are specifically targeting people that look like my wife and my family. We need people to understand that this is happening every fucking day. There was one today, June 10th, in Gastonia, North Carolina, which is literally right down the road from my sister, by the way. And freaking 4 injured, no deaths, but it was at a grocery store. So that was just today. Yesterday's was in Smithsburg, Maryland, at a manufacturing facility. The day before that was in Yuma, Arizona. And then on the 7th, there were 5. So
it's an epidemic in this country.
It literally is.
And it's not happening in any other country except for here.
Nope.
No other country except for here. And so, are we really that free? Are we really the greatest country in the entire world? We are not. This is
Marcy. We were talking last week about how we're like the scared straight program for the rest of the fucking world.
Right?
How,
they're watching us like, oh my god.
Don't be like America.
Yeah.
Other countries are like, fuck it, here, take my guns. We don't want to turn out like them. Jesus.
Well, the thing is, it's not even so much about taking guns, because we have the right to bear arms, right? Nobody needs an assault rifle. Nobody needs a weapon of mass destruction. And all of your arguments about you need to kill hogs and skunks and all of this
raccoons.
Fucking bullshit, you don't need it for anything. Nobody does. Nowhere in the world do they do this anywhere but here. So, what is the fucking problem?
Hold on, can I say this real quick? Matthew McConaughey, one of the things he said in his speech was, and it was, as graphic as it was, that hollowed out those children. So if you're talking about using this for hunting, in what purpose do you want to hollow out your game?
If
that's how you want to play it. Sorry, I just
There's supposed to be meat left. You're not, the point. Yeah, that's why you shoot them with a lower caliber.
These guns are ridiculous.
Yeah, for me, and Maggie, you've heard it 100 times now, but for me personally, my wife and I are trained in these weapons. We've seen these weapons, we see what they can do, and that's what makes it so terrifying. USMC Angry Vet. He did a great video that blew up. He was actually on CNN or something the other day, which is fucking phenomenal.
Oh, he was?
So if you don't follow him, USMC Angry Vet, awesome dude, puts out good videos. But he talked about being a veteran himself, and he talked about, you know, the guns and how we handle them as military. And I'm just giving him credit because this isn't an original thought on my part. But when we're in the military, if a gun comes up missing from the armory, the whole fucking base gets shut down. Yeah. And until that weapon is found, everybody doesn't leave.
Yeah.
So we literally in the military have better gun laws than civilians. And we're trained. We're literally trained in these guns. He
did a good point too, that as a veteran or as somebody in the military, you have to go in for continual, you know, licensing, make sure that you are prepared and you know how, and certification on that weapon, like that you have that training. About to say. Oh, sorry.
But yeah, no, I mean that's exactly it. The way that we handle weapons in the military is literally more stringent than the way civilians are expected to handle it. And that, to me, that says everything you need to know about well-organized militia. Because literally, you want to know what a well-organized militia looks like? It's the fucking military. That's a well-organized militia, okay? That's what it's supposed to be.
I think the problem is that we have a lot of members in our military and in our police departments who are part of this cult mentality. And like, bringing another thing into this, how do we police that? How do we vet these people to make sure they're not these lunatics that are going along with this crazy cult mentality of what's going on? Like, that for me is a scary part too, because when you look to the military and you look to the police, you're like, these people are supposed to help us. Well, half of them are these fucking crazy people that are at the Capitol beating other police officers and training these people how to breach buildings and things like that. How do we, like, that's another question that comes into all of this, is how do we prevent those people from being in our institutions like that are supposed to protect us, right? Like,
yeah, how do we know who the good guys are? And that's always their defense, right? Well, the good guy with the gun, how do we know who the fuck is the good guy, man?
Exactly.
How do we know?
Well, even that, and the good guys with the guns, apparently they'll stand outside of school for fucking 60 minutes while kids are murdered.
Right? And do nothing. Well,
and apparently the Supreme Court says that that's okay.
In their own hands. Exactly.
Oh, but watch out, Brett Kavanaugh. Let's write some laws because Brett Kavanaugh might be in danger.
Well,
they jumped on that one.
That came out that like really was speaking to me, and it was from the guy. I'm going to post it later in a video, actually later on tonight. But there's a guy that was in the Capitol who was jumping over a railing, who was completely in tactical gear, and he had the spray, the guns, and he had zip ties.
Oh, so he was in the chamber. That was in the chamber.
In the chamber. So the same people that are saying, put out a new bill to protect the Supreme Court justices from the guy with zip ties, don't give a shit, and they're voting on the guy that was in there who could have been coming for them.
Yep.
It's like the hypocrisy of all of it is just maddening. And
that's not even hypocrisy. That's stupidity. Okay. Like, you guys are literally, like, you're voting. That could have been you.
Yeah.
That could have been you.
But everything boils down to
representatives. No, they're going to be going out to get anyone who's in that building. But you're going to vote to protect Supreme Court justices and not yourself.
Because they want the Supreme Court justices to be happy and continue doing what they're doing and pushing that their agenda.
But it shows you how broken we are.
Yeah.
You know, if you can move, like, and I know that's Marxie's point here. If you can move that fast to protect, you know, the Supreme Court, then you motherfuckers better start moving quick to protect my children, to protect our children. Okay? It really is that simple. If you can move that quick to protect the Supreme Court justice, then you can move equally as quick to protect our fucking kids.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Did you see the video of Marjorie Greene Taylor saying, I am not voting for the Safe School Act or whatever it was. I'm going to vote against that.
Yeah, because she's a dumb bitch.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my God. No.
Sorry.
I totally agree. 1,000,000% agree.
Shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
How can you say that in the same breath? To me, it just doesn't make any fucking sense at this point. And
none of it makes sense. Well, everything they do is say one thing, do another. Hypocrisy, bullshit, lies. I do it all for money. Big donors, yada yada yada. We know this. I mean,
it really is the money, Maggie.
It is always the money. And I have this ongoing theory. I keep saying it. We should just lobby, do a GoFundMe and fucking lobby in our own country. And maybe they'll fucking do their own fucking jobs. so and pay them. I know. I put that out in a tweet.
How many followers do we have? Let's get on this next week, guys.
I put out a tweet. I put it out on a tweet. I said we should just fucking lobby for ourselves. Stop paying taxes and give them money and be like, can you fucking work for us, please? Because you're not. Everything
after this.
I mean, we know how much money that
she's like, now I'm thinking.
Yeah, someone said I'll donate. We have, and if we can't get that done, we can at least maybe do a GoFundMe for like a spaceship to get off this fucking planet. That's
if it's not shaped like a vagina, I'm not getting on it.
Perfect.
And we can't. Well, Blue Origin wouldn't be able to be close at the same time.
All of them. They all look like giant dicks.
We've docked. Oh Jesus. Okay. Let's get. Be serious, people. Jesus.
We can't. We can't.
So with that, I think it'd be another good pivot to. So how do we fix this, guys? We fix it by voting. And with that said, you both you beautiful ladies are in California, so I think it would be a great time to talk about the voter turnout that we had for the primaries.
It was piss poor. It was
that part.
It was about 18% in California, and I don't really understand why people are so apathetic. I mean, people came out when we did our, when they were coming for Gavin Newsom, and we had that special sham of a election.
The recall.
The recall. But people didn't come out, and I know Big Oil, measures A and B in Ventura County came through. So Big Oil is going to, they put a lot of money into doing that. So there's going to be a lot of oil drilling in places that it shouldn't be. And that, environmentally speaking, we lost big time. That, Democrats didn't come out in the droves and maybe didn't understand in the places that we needed them to. It's disappointing. It's really disappointing.
And I think it's because we live in a blue state, and we live in a state that's becoming a sanctuary state where women's rights are going to be protected, LGBTQ rights are going to be protected, gun laws and all of that is like pretty under control in this area. And so I think in places like where we live, people are just like, I don't need to do anything. It's all about the presidential election, and that they don't really understand the severity and the consequences of not turning out, right? So
people think that everything's just going to be fine.
Yeah,
that somebody else in California will take up the slack. Oh, I missed this one, no big deal.
What? Right. I think what Marcy
every election matters. Sorry.
No, I think what Marcy said, really matters, and people need to realize that just because we have a Democratic president does not mean anything. And more importantly, having a Democratic president is even more reason for us to show up, because they need the House, they need the Senate, they need Congress to get shit done. And then on top of that, if we don't show up and vote for these down ballot elections, these state precedents that are being set, the reason that Roe v. Wade is probably going to be overturned is because of state precedents that were set that got ran up and to the Supreme Court. That's how we got here. We got here because people didn't show up and vote progressives, liberals, and Democrats into the offices that matter, all the way down to city council, to dog catcher, and all the way up to the Senate and to the president. We have to focus. We cannot get complacent, and that's what I saw. I saw complacency in California, and that terrifies me, because it's like, look, guys, this fight isn't over. This election matters so much, and then on top of it, and I think a couple people have said it, and I'm sure you both have said it. The biggest weapon that we have as Americans is our vote. Absolutely. We show up, we vote, we put the right people in office. That's how we change things. That's how we peacefully change things. Okay.
But remember,
go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, but remember, the biggest thing that wins out over if you don't get out and vote is money. People pour so much money into making sure that your vote doesn't fucking happen. They will do everything in their power to make that happen. And they put the money in because they get 5 times back. And so, if you are apathetic and you think that somebody is just going to take up the slack for you, even in California, if you're like, oh, well, this Democratic, other Democrats will get out there and vote for me. I don't have to be involved. Fuck no, because we have seen how fragile our democracy has been in the last few years. And it just within one election. everything can fucking change if people, and that's why the Republicans have put so much effort into voter suppression and putting the people down and doing whatever they can to gerrymander in places that they want to win and that they need to win. They put the effort into, and this is the same thing about big money. And I think that happened especially here with California. Big money came in and also put a lot of pressure to put this down. Yeah. So people didn't see what happened. So remember that too. It's not just people were apathetic. Big money was involved in that apathy. Remember that.
I think that where the Democrats specifically need to focus their marketing power, or like where they're really trying to put their focus on voters, is the youth, because it is the kids that are going to fucking save us. So these younger generations, they're very into equality, non-binary, love is love. And I think they're growing up unlike us, where we grew up in a normal society where people weren't threatening to hang the vice president. It was just some people were conservative and some people were a little bit liberal, and that's how it was. But I think the kids growing up right now, specifically in the timeline of COVID and pandemic and being locked down, and they're seeing what's happening on their televisions and on their computers. And I think kids, like you saw all these kids walk out after the Texas shooting because they're just like, this is bullshit. We're not here for it. We're not going for it. I think where we could really focus our largest demographic that is going to be turning 18 is like to the kids, and how to get them energized to vote. Because I'll be really honest, I didn't give a shit about voting or politics until I was in my late 20s, because I just wasn't paying attention and it didn't affect me, and I'm just working to get by and I really don't care about what's going on. But I think in this time, in this day and age, that it's different, and that the kids care and that they are not okay with this. So like, I mean, I know my audience specifically, like on TikTok, is in the 30 to 40, even older range. It's like, the question for me is, how do we reach the kids that have the numbers and that will show up to vote to do this? Like, that's where my brain has been at a lot lately.
Tell them the truth.
Kids,
Tell them the truth.
Well, there are so many kids right now that are, I think one way that we can help is, get out there, volunteer if you can, call, be part of call centers. There are ways that, we can all get involved. There are so many kids that are going to be turning 18 before this next general election, or the next election in 2022. Well, the 2022, I mean, it's so many. Well, so if we can get those people signed up and a little bit excited.
And I think, and I actually just kind of thought of this listening to you, Marcy, but I think we need to use the gun violence to get the young kids engaged, because the one thing I keep seeing from younger people posting, in the comment sections about all this stuff is the fear that they constantly have going to school, that, the fear they have doing these shooter drills. I think what we need to do is be like, look, you guys hate that. This is how we fix it, and we need you to do that with us, and we need to make sure that the next generation, that your kids won't be going through these active shooter drills, and the way that we do that is we band together right now, and we get you to vote. I think that's going to be that needs to be the messaging, at least one of the messages moving forward for us is, we want to help you guys make sure that your kids don't experience the same fear and experiences that you've had at school. We can do better.
I mean, one of the things that we've talked about, though, hold on, I want to say, one of the things that we've talked about, though, in the past, and honestly, ever since I've been doing YouTube shows, this has been a talking point that we've talked about how the Republicans have always had their messaging very on point. As stupid as it is, stop the steal, lock her up. They're dumb little quick, like, I mean, I'm a linguist, that's part of my background is speech, language, communication. And that's what they have like on their plate. They are really good at it. As Democrats, though, that's the thing. The messaging is, I think, somewhat muddled, and it's very vast because we have a very broad spectrum when it comes to, the left. There's
You want to know what the problem is?
Centrist to leftist. You know, we've got so many things. The messaging needs to be, at least on the right, their messaging, their dumbass messaging gets across.
But we
got to work on it.
You just said a whole thing, though. The reason that the Democrats' messaging is more difficult is because we're more inclusive. It's much easier. It's much easier to message when you're very selective. When it's like, if you're not white, Christian, gun loving, pro life, then you don't fit into this crowd. Exactly. And Democrats aren't like that. Democrats are like, I don't give a shit.
Welcome everyone.
Yeah, if you're Reformed Republican, come on over. We'll
The best messaging we have at this point is just vote blue, right? I mean, it's not good enough.
It's not good at all.
Good enough. I know, and that's why
vote blue no matter who. Please fucking stop saying that. Please stop saying that.
Why? Like why?
Exactly.
What are you going to fix? What are you going to do that's different? They need to get so much stronger with their messaging. So you guys should call us.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing.
Although I don't, for the Democratic Party, I don't work for free anymore. You guys have fucked me over too many times, so you can call me, but you're going to have to pay me.
Oh.
See? And Maggie's like, fuck it, I leave then. Maggie's like, I leave. You good?
You good?
Uh-oh.
Shut her down.
Uh-oh.
So we don't see her.
Yeah, hang on. Let me get it. Okay. So, anyway, I don't know what's going on. I think she had an issue.
A little technical difficulty.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties over here. With that said, I guess you got anything you want to talk about? As a matter of fact, why don't you go ahead and plug yourself and send people to your social media?
Hi guys, my name is Little Miss Marxist. I am a political content creator. You can catch most of my work on TikTok. I'm getting really active on Instagram, and the following is growing, so follow me over there. And Ryan and I are super besties on Twitter. I'm having a lot of fun over there, and we're trying to save democracy. So if you want to come and hang out, my link is right there, and I would love to find some more friends. We have a lot of work to do, so hop on in.
Yes, we do. And like you said, I think together is the only way we're going to get it done. So it is a pleasure to be able to work with you on social media and call you a friend. So thank you for coming on. I hopefully I can come on your show, and I'm sure that's Maggie right there. Yep.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So,
but with a pleasure, and I love the community that we have of our friend group online, and I wouldn't be able to get through this time without you guys. So thank you so much for having me. Love you so much.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. So Maggie, as you can see, Maggie had to duck out. We had some technical difficulties, but that's fine. She'll be back with me on next Friday. So make sure that you tune in, subscribe to all of our channels, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of it. That's how you'll catch all the newest videos from Little Miss Marxist and myself and Maggie. And so please tune in next week and make sure you guys watch these hearings. Like I said, I know it's going to be emotional and a little difficult, but it's very important for us to stay focused and keep our eye on the ball. So the next one is, I think, is it the 12th or 13th, Marxie?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Pretty sure it's 13th. But
one is June 9th, 8 p.m., June 13th, 10 a.m., June 15th, 10 a.m. I don't like the 10 a.m. ones. I'm going to say that, but whatever.
Yeah, I know, West Coast, that kind of sucks, but yeah, we'll get over it.
June 16th, 10 a.m., the 21st at 10 a.m., and the final one is June 23rd at 8 p.m.
Yep. So there you go, guys. We got to keep watching these. Like I said, I know it's going to be a little difficult for some of us, but we got to do it. And with that said, we'll see you guys next week. Much love. Keep fighting.